Hello guys, I'm Recon, and today we have GTA Car vs. Episode 11, the Benefactor Dubsta 6x6 versus the Vapid Sandking XL. Now guys, this is going to be a very interesting matchup considering both of these guys are extremely good at off-roading. So, let's get started. Alright guys, we got the Dubsta on-road handling, and as you guys noticed, this is a new track just for this episode, so that way the cars could actually go to their full potential, because as you guys know, these are mammoth-sized cars, and the original track just wasn't big enough. So anyway, the Dubsta is turning extremely well. I really always felt control using this car. I never felt like I was going to crash when I was making a turn. Even at higher speeds, I was completely fine, as you guys can see right here with this upcoming turn, you guys will see that I do slow down, take the turn, and I really don't hit into anything because it's just a very flawless car in terms of on-road handling. So I'd highly recommend this car if you are going to do a lot of on-roading and just really speeding on the highways. Hello guys, now we are getting onto the Sandking XL on-road handling, and the Sandking XL is actually for the most part pretty much identical to the Dubsta handling, and I'm gonna say that it really does a good job as well. And the only difference between the two, and I really mean the only difference, because as you can see I'm handling the turns pretty much the same, is when you are going at higher speeds and you want to take a turn, my only advice is you want to slow down just a bit more than you would as comparison to if you were using a Dubsta. So just try and slow down before you take a turn more if you're going at higher speeds. With the Dubsta, that's really not an issue, but considering the handling on these cars are nearly identical, they're pretty much 99% like the other vehicle, I'm really not going to degrade the Sandking for it, so I'm going to say that both cars really perform equally. Alright guys, now we are doing the Dubsta off-road handling. Now, what I have to say about this car, it is very solid. It really is like its on-road counterpart, and it is very good at what it does. It's a very solid off-road vehicle. Now, as you can see guys, it kind of takes a fault there, but just magically recovers. Like, I really thought it was going to flip out, but it just recovers and regains stability. As you can see, it doesn't really have any trouble going over those jumps. It kind of gets a little shaky there, it kind of spins out, so it's very solid. However, it's not 100% the best off-road vehicle. I mean, even though it is an off-road vehicle, and what we've learned from this series is even though cars are listed under being an off-road vehicle, they could be terrible at off-road. But as you can see, this is definitely not one of those vehicles, and this car, like I said, is very solid. As you can see, it's just it's handling the turns very well. It's not really having an issue, and I didn't really crash to what I remember. As you can see, just land the jump perfectly right here, take a nice turn. Really, it's really solid, and I can't say that enough. It's very good, and if you were in a high-speed chase in the middle of the desert and the cops were after you, or some other player was after you and you had a bounty, this is a very solid car to use. I would recommend highly using this car off-road. Like if you're going to climb Mount Chiliad, or even just for some recreational off-roading like this, I'd recommend this car very highly, as the combination between its flawless turning and the fact that it can stay stable off-road and handle very bumpy terrain all at once just makes this car very good. So I'd highly recommend it, and like I said, it is a very solid off-roading car. Alright guys, now we are doing the Sandking XL off-road handling. So the Sandking really is okay. It's not really terrible. It's not the Canis Mesa terrible or the Adder terrible, but it's not perfect. As you can see, it wiped out at the very beginning. It doesn't handle the turns terribly. I mean, right here it goes along the track pretty smoothly. However, it does, I think that was a first on the series, actually crash into the cinder blocker, the Jersey barrier, or whatever you want to call it. As you can see, it also does handle this turn very well. So, like I said, it's not the worst, and it's not the best, and it's very sturdy off-road, and it's kind of a slower vehicle when you come to off-roading. I mean, many people use it to climb Mount Chiliad, and I think that's really what it's meant for, because it has a lot of torque, and you can really go up mountains that other cars can't. And this car is very, very good in off-roading, but I think its speciality is definitely climbing. So if there was a climbing test, I think it would do very well. In this test, however, it doesn't do terrible. Like I said, it's very, very good. If I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate it about a 7 or an 8. I wouldn't say to go to the farthest point of 10, but like I said, guys, it's very much a middle ground. It's a very good car if you cannot afford, or you are not a high enough level to get the Dubsta, or if you just don't play single player that much. You can just, it's a very good entry-level off-road vehicle if you're really planning to do some serious off-roading in, you know, Sandy Shores, or, you know, in the Redwood Lights track, like it is right here. But I'm going to have to give the edge to the Dubsta just for the fact that it is completely flawless off-road, and this car is kind of okay. Alright guys, now we are onto the Dubsta damage resistance test, and it resisted pretty decently. You know, it really wasn't that bad, and it resisted 167 bullets, so it is pretty average for this show. Alright guys, now we are onto the Sandking XL damage resistance test, and this thing is a tank. It resisted 243 bullets with no armor. That is phenomenal. So the Sandking obviously, guys, resisted more damage. Alright guys, we are onto the Dubsta speed test, and the Dubsta is pretty fast for an off-road vehicle. I mean, excluding vehicles like the Sanchez, which are hybrids between, you know, two different classes. You know, how the Sanchez is a motorcycle, but at the same time considered an off-road vehicle. Same thing with the Nagasaki Blazer, the Humvee, all of those vehicles. But it is very, very fast for what it is, and I would very highly recommend it if you were going to go and race with this. So it did take 28.98 seconds to get to the other end of the runway. Alright guys, we are onto the Sandking XL speed test, and the Sandking XL, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but it is a slower car. It's not really the fastest car. That's why if I do off-road races, I really don't pick the Sandking unless, like, you know, it's mandatory for the race, which I understand that, but the Sandking is just not the fastest vehicle compared to the Dubsta. It's a very good off-roading vehicle, like I mentioned. It's just not fast enough. It's a very slower, tank-like vehicle. As you can even see, it's just a very heavy-built vehicle. So anyway, getting back to the time that it took, it did take 32.38 seconds to get to the other end of the runway, making the Dubsta faster. So yeah, guys, the Dubsta was faster. Alright guys, the Dubsta 6x6 is the winner for this episode, so if you guys want to come see more awesome content on my channel, please like the video, subscribe, check out the rest of my videos, and I hope you guys do enjoy them. I am signing out, guys. Peace.